happening, guys? My name is Rob Anderson and I'm the product trainer for Pioneer DJ UK. Now I'm up at the DJ Kit showrooms in Newbury on DJ Kit TV, and I'm going to be talking you through the latest addition to our CDJ range, which is the brand new CDJ2000 Nexus. So the next in the evolution of the top of the range club spec multi-format player. So you can see we've got it sat next to the existing CDJ2000 here, and there's not too much of a difference in size. So the exact same footprint, the exact same accessories will fit the Nexus that fit the old CDJ. So the same flight cases, the same deck saver plates. You can literally slot out the old 2000 and slot in the new 2000. But there's some really cool new features that we've incorporated on here that really, you know, make this much more than a Mark II. This really is a whole new CDJ and a whole new upgrade. So let me show you them. Bit of an aesthetic rework. So we've got slightly different coloured jog wheels on here now. Brushed metal buttons, so these are nice greyish colour. We've also remodelled this plate here. So a new glass panel plate on here, just a bit more resilient to scratches, wear and tear, and a few additional buttons as well, which I'm going to go through now. So let's start with putting our USB stick of Recordbox analysed files straight into the USB port, and I'll show you the first of the features that are brand new on the CDJ2000 Nexus. So provided I've got USB selected on the source select, we're going to see my settings data was found on this USB. Press the menu button to load. So this is allowing DJs to customize every setting on the CDJ before they actually get to the club. So in Recordbox 2, the new Recordbox software, we can actually set the LCD screen brightness, we can set the tempo control, we can set the jog wheel illumination. We can literally customize the whole CDJ. So when you actually step into the DJ booth and you put your USB stick in, you're good to go. It literally loads up all your settings. So I'm going to do that now. Press menu, press load, and there we go. CDJ's completely changed. The screen's become brighter because I've set it to maximum illumination. It's jumped to +6 because that's how I always play. And the jog wheel illumination LEDs have come on, which allow it to interact with the mixer and with the other CDJs. So fully customized, ready to go. Next feature, we've got higher resolution screen. So when you compare this to the older CDJs, it looks a lot more vivid, a lot more bright, and slightly different layout to the navigation now. We're still seeing our categorization search options, which we set up in Recordbox. So if I jump into, these are my preferred ones. So I've got my color scheme, the key. The new version of Recordbox analyzes the key for us, which is also really useful, the key of each track. I'm going to jump into playlist and jump to my new tracks. Now when I'm in here, obviously we've got the artwork displayed down every track there. Some of my artwork's missing, and we've also got next to every track name a little H. Now this indicates that these tracks have been assigned hotkeys in Recordbox beforehand. Not new technology, not a new feature. We could do this on the old CDJs, but a new feature that does happen is they're auto loaded for us. So when I choose to load this track, it's loaded up and you can see A, B and C good to go on my hotkeys. So this again, time-saving feature. On the old CDJs, you'd have to load your track up and then you'd have to hold down record call and these would buffer in. You'd then have to press them all once before you'd start playing, because otherwise you'd get a delay when you start punching away on them. Now they're there and they're good for us to use. Another really cool feature. Now this is one of my favourite features about these hotkeys. You can probably see up here we've implemented a new button. We've got quantize off and on. So we can disable the quantize feature on the CDJ. Instead of going into the utility menu, it's a performance function now. So we can actually do it whilst we're playing with ease. Now with quantize on, these are actually quantized. So when you hit these hotkeys, they're going to come in on beat. Really cool feature, and makes the Hotkeys a lot more usable when you're mixing. So you can be mixing 2 tracks on deck, you know, playing this track on deck A, playing another track on deck B, and you can actually punch away on these Hotkeys and they'll come in on time. So I'll demonstrate now. So perfectly in time. They come in on the downbeat every time, making them much more usable and a lot more similar to software programs out there. You know, this is the first piece of hardware that's enabling this kind of technology, quantized Hotkeys. Other than the CDJ2000 Nexus, you have to have a laptop in the DJ booth with you to access features like that. So, moving on, next feature, I suppose we should look at the all new LCD screen. Like I said, it's a lot more vivid. We're also seeing a moving waveform now. So we've got the standard waveform below, indicating the full track and indicating where each of our Hotkeys are and our cue points. And above that, we've got a waveform that I can actually zoom into. It's you know, it's in telecolor as well, so the different variations of blue that you've got on there, the deeper the blue or the lighter the blue, depends on the frequency and the velocity of what you're hearing. So basically every different sound should have a different shade of colour on it, indicating breakdowns and build-ups. Just making it a lot easier to see. If we can scroll right out, we can actually see when the tracks are going to drop. Now you're probably noticing above the waveform we've got this a bar indicator. So this is indicating every beat of the track, and if I let go and let this track play now, we'll see 1, 2. It counts along with the bars of the track, and if I zoom right into the waveform, every 4th beat on this beat grid is a downbeat, which indicates the first phrase. So there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can probably see this countdown meter over here as well. Now you set every cue point that you set inside Recordbox. So on this big waveform, all these little arrows you're seeing here are cue points that I've set, and they indicate the end of every main phrase, so the start of every breakdown and every drop. And this will count down to the next either breakdown or drop. So we've got 20 bars to go. It gives us a lot more control over our track and our mixing. You can see above it. Now at the moment this CDJ, like I said, is linked to an old CDJ2000. It's not linked to a Nexus. If this was linked to another Nexus, you'd be seeing a phase meter above this and a countdown meter indicating the other track. So you can get full control and full view of what's going on both CDJs from this screen. And it just lets you create a lot more creative mixing. You know, you can actually cue this track when there's 32 beats to go on the next, on the deck on the other side. So you can get tunes dropping together. You can get vocals coming in on this deck when the other vocals are coming out. You can fully prepare your set and just have a lot more control using these features. And it's almost hard to survive without them once you've been using this for a week or a couple of sets. You can see it goes red, goes into the breakdown, which is an 8 bar, 5 bar, 4, and there we go up to the drop. Again, jump into the next countdown meter. Now, like I said, we can actually zoom in and out of this waveform, but what's really cool is if we haven't had time to fully check our beat grids on the Recordbox software, we can manually adjust beat grids on the fly. So if I hold down the zoom, sorry, the rotary pot here, the zoom changes from zoom to grid mode. You can see that indicated on there. Now while this is flashing, if I turn it, you can actually see the beat grids sliding from right to left. So you can completely edit the beat grids and set them to be perfect whilst you're DJing. Hold this back down, jump to zoom again, and there you go, you're good to go. Now the importance of your beat grids is basically so the quantize feature works. So if your beat grid's off, when you hit your hot cues, they won't come in on time. Or if you are using the loop technology that we've incorporated here, this is quantized now. You know, it was quantized on the old CDJs as well, but I'm not sure if everyone used it to its full potential. You know, now we can literally hold down the in point. The CDJ indicates the 4-beat loop. The in point is basically a 4-beat loop template if you hold it down. And that will jump into a perfectly quantized loop for you. If your beat grid was slightly off, it might not be so accurate. Just as before, we've got the touch sensitive needle strip, which we can change our loop size on. All fully quantized as well. So you're getting all them features that are available on software with the reliability of the hardware. We can now also use the call buttons over here on the right to shorten and lengthen the loop size. All fully quantized. So if you're mixing two tracks together, you can actually manipulate the loop size to a lot more control than you ever could before. Now, if I jump out of that loop, brand new feature incorporated from the CDJ900. We've actually got a slip mode on here. So, really popular feature on the CDJ900. If I flick this on, now, slip mode, in a nutshell, if I stop the track now, with it activated, you can see on the jog wheel, the track is continuing to play underneath. You can see on that display that there's something going on, the track is still going. Now, where I paused the track was at 1 minute 32, which you can see on the display. If I let go of this now, it will jump to the point of where it would have been had I not touched this. So, which is 1 minute 55. So this means you can do tricks like backspins and you don't lose any of the track. And you can do this with any of the features on here. So if I turn quantize off, you can use your hot cues, or you can use the reverse. So there's a lot more control there. You can even use the stop button. So nice creative feature, you know, for any guys that are scratch DJs, hip hop DJs, bashment DJs playing, using a lot of backspins or playing a lot of varied genres of music, then the slip mode is a really cool feature. Really helps you up your game when you're mixing. Now, the last feature that's probably been noticed by quite a few people is we've actually incorporated a master and a sync function on here now. So these buttons now, anyone who's DJ'd for, you know, a couple of months or longer, or a year or longer, can probably beat match themselves already. So it's not necessary to use this, but if this is synced up, networked, cabled up in the Pro DJ link to another CDJ2000 Nexus, you can actually set one track to be a master, and then on the other decks you can press sync. So if you're playing on 3 turntables, or if you're playing on 4 turntables, this allows you to do a lot more. You know, you can get a 4-beat loop running on this deck, and then set it to be master, and then continue mixing on another 3 decks, and actually have them all synced up perfectly. You know, just more of the functionality that was only available in software programs, and up until now meant that you had to have a laptop in the DJ booth with you. And you know, unless you had a very high spec laptop, usually costing over like £1,500, then 4-deck mixing was, you know, near on impossible to get without audio glitching or running the risk of crashes. So this makes things a lot easier. Now, I myself use this unit in conjunction with these decks. So the RMX 1000 allows you to create your own drum patterns and loops and samples over the top of what you're DJing with. This sync feature really helps you out. You know, if you're doing three deck mixing, this almost acts as a fourth deck. So this sync feature just means the whole lot sits tighter together, and you know, you can just nudge the speed of your loops and samples that you're creating on here. So bit of getting used to with having this on here. Anyone who doesn't like to sync, simply don't use it, but anyone who wants to get really creative, this is a really cool feature that can be used. Slightly better sound quality. You know, the CDJ2000, when it was first launched, was the highest quality level of sound that we'd ever produced, that Pioneer had ever achieved. That's slightly improved again on this now. So if you're running digital outputs from the back of this straight into the DJM900 Nexus, or you know, any of the range, it really does achieve now the highest, it even outshines the highest that we'd achieved before. So very high level of sound. Jump back out of that loop. We've also got implementation, so everyone would have probably seen the fact that we can wirelessly connect our iPhone and our Recordbox apps to the CDJs. Now this means that this would have to be connected to another CDJ and then running into a wireless router, which creates an ad hoc network for you to connect to. You know, if you're a bit unsure about wireless, which it does work very well, what we can do on the CDJ2000 is literally connect our iPhone via cable straight into the USB port now. So if I open up my Recordbox app on my phone, I'm going to pull this USB out, and this is another cool feature. If for some reason your USB goes down, emergency loop, which can be manipulated, buys you a little get out of jail card for you to mix out of. Brand new feature on there as well. So whilst that's in an emergency loop, I'm going to plug in my iPhone. The CDJ will charge my iPhone. You can see up there it's charging now. I'm going to jump to load. Recordbox connecting, and there we go. So if I stop that track that's currently playing, I can access my library that's on my phone in two ways. I can either hit the USB button on here on the CDJ and I can jump through all my tracks on here, or I can jump into them on the app, choose a track, any track, and choose which deck you want to load it into. Choose it into deck 2, and there we go.
Act right.
Now, this, like I said, this is a new CDJ Nexus. It's linked up to an old CDJ2000, the existing CDJ2000. Now, because this iPhone is connected to this deck, we can actually access this library by pressing USB on here as well. Oh, sorry, link. So if I press Pro DJ link button, I can jump through and still access the tracks that are on my phone. However, I can't connect my iPhone directly to this CDJ. That's not going to work. But it just gives you the ability to still use this Nexus in conjunction with the old CDJs. So, last feature I'm just going to show you is slip mode. Additional feature, while the slip mode is on, the loop buttons that you're seeing up here will actually switch to a light blue colour, and this acts as a roll effect. You know, if you're a dance DJ or a house DJ or techno DJ, then this is a really cool effect. It's almost like the DJM900s, the DJM800s, the whole DJM range that the roll effect exists on is now implemented into the CDJ in a slightly different way. We access it through the now illuminated needle search, touch sensitive needle search, and this is also ridged now as well. You can't see that on the screen, but there's actually ridges to indicate each value up on the screen, so it's a lot easier to feel what you're accessing on there. So, you know, in a nutshell, that's the new CDJ2000 Nexus. This is going to be ready to demo in the DJ Kit showroom in October. It's also going to be massively promoted at the BPM show at the NEC on the 6th and 7th of October and 8th of October. And, you know, get yourselves down and have a go.